Now this being the Mammoth One, I was doing some experiments on it, and the right hand side actually only has a single zipper pull. I found that a double zipper pull down here is definitely better. So all the bags that were made after the Mammoth One actually have the double zipper pulls. So again, I'm not going to worry about, there's castings down here for sure in the bottom of the container. So I've harvested this once before. So I'm just going to open it up, and these castings are going to dump out, and then we'll have to dig up into the system to try and pull out the next 6 or 7 inches of material. So the first thing is just to open up, unzip the zipper all the way to the other side. And then just pull the lid back. And you can see here, the very bottom material on this is definitely a little bit wet, and I expected it to be. Well composted for sure. Absolutely well composted. What I'm going to do now is just dig up inside here, and a little bit awkward to film and do this at the same time, but now there's like a little strap section that separates the right side from the left side, and when you harvest this, you have to dig back into that side just a little bit. Again, I'm going to say here the bottom inch here is pretty moist, but I can already tell that when I go up here just a little bit, you notice if I rake it just a little bit with my fingers, a whole bunch of material comes down because it's not very wet up about an inch. Look how dark and rich this material is here. I mean, really, really nice looking material. Absolutely. Actually, I haven't seen a single worm yet. That's a good thing. Again, this bottom little section right in here where the strap section is definitely wet, pretty moist. You can see there. But by the time you mix that with the rest of the material that's going to come out of here, it's not going to be an issue. And if I was really concerned about it, again, I could just kind of stop feeding the system for maybe a week, and that area would dry out. Now, it's a little bit awkward to do this. I really want to get over right in front of the camera to reach up inside here, so it'd be a lot easier, but I don't want to block the camera, so I'll get my other hand in there and maybe make it a little bit easier. Because I'm in an awkward position, so it'd be easier to harvest normally, I think, if you weren't worried about filming it at the same time. I'm trying to get my other hand up in there. So, back in along this liner. Surprisingly, I don't think I've seen a single worm yet. Okay, that's about all I'm going to take out right now, mainly because my mortar tray is full. But I haven't seen hardly any worms coming out of here. What I'm going to do is go ahead and wash my hands, and then zip this side up, and then we'll pull these castings out and see what they look like. So I'll go ahead and pull back this lid, the zipper. zip it back. Now I'm going to harvest the other side first. If I wanted to right now, I could actually just push on the sides of the bag all the way around and the whole interior portion would collapse down inside here and reset this thing. But I'm going to go ahead and harvest the other side first. So let's pull these castings out here and take a look how many I got and what they look like. Okay, these are the castings I pulled out of the right hand side of the bag. And I could have definitely got more. I only went up actually to the top of the liner. A little difficult to harvest it and not get in front of the camera, so that's part of the reason. I only harvested this amount. The next amount I'd have to get in a different position right in front of the camera to pull more out, but I could have easily pulled out at least another half a tub, if not another full tub, out of just the right hand side. So I weighed this. This is 54 pounds of castings out of the right hand side, and I'll get the same amount, if not a little bit more. So I'm going to end up with well over 100 pounds of castings here just by taking the very bottom section of this bag, and I haven't seen hardly any worms in this. I'll set this up on the tripod and we'll kind of dig into it a little bit and see what it looks like. So let's take a look at these castings. You can tell here, I mean, they're really rich, dark black. I see some seeds here and there, a couple eggshells. Sometimes I don't grind up my eggshells, I just crush them and throw them inside. Small bits of plastic here and there. I see, I mean, I haven't seen any worms. I mean, not even a single one. I think because the system's so deep that, I mean, the worms are up in the top portion of that bag. And, I mean, there's absolutely none down here. I'm sure there's some cocoons in here. And I'll do my standard thing on the castings. I'm going to stick them in these small shallow trays. I'll screen them, I'll let them dry just a smidgen. I could sift this right now. This is, I mean, it'll hold together, but as soon as I touch it, it falls apart. So it's actually a perfect consistency. But one, I'm lazy right now. I don't feel like sifting it right now. So there's one worm. I just saw one tiny little worm here. There's one. So, I mean, never say never. I mean, there's always going to be worms in here, and there's always going to be cocoons. I mean, you're never going to get something that's worm-free on your castings. Some nylon thread that must have came off a bag or something. So, I couldn't be happier, honestly. I mean, this is absolutely perfect castings. It's super dark too. That's what I like about it. You know, a lot of cardboard, coconut coir. You know, again, I mix mine probably at about a 30% coconut coir, I suppose, 40% maybe, you know, compared to ground paper and cardboard. And then the rest is just scraps that I put in. And so I'm not going to bore you with the harvest on the other side. It's going to be exactly the same. I'm pretty amazed. This is 55 pounds basically of castings that came out of the right hand side, and I didn't even go up very far. I could have easily pulled out probably another one. So I'll harvest the left hand side and probably pull out a good solid full tray that'll be around that 55 to 60 pound mark. So, you know, well over 100 pounds of castings out of the system, and then I'm going to go ahead and reset the system by pushing on the sides, letting it collapse. And then I'm going to go ahead and give it a good feeding of about 35. I may even try and push it a little bit more, maybe 40 pounds of bedding and scraps. The system's definitely handling it. The worm population's exploding. And I mean, it's producing castings super, super fast. And these are great castings. So I couldn't be happier. This is Tom from VermiBag. Till next time, ciao.